Welcome to the FullyCrypto podcast.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the FullyCrypto podcast, your home of quality cryptocurrency and blockchain news, reviews, opinion and more. My name is Mark Hunter and with me is the king of alt season himself, Alex Mears.
Good morning, sir. How are you today?
Not too bad, thanks. Not too bad. It's a bright and early start for us today, so just trying to get things together. But no, things are looking good.
They are. It's like the alt market.
Yeah, it's I've made a little bit on ETH. It's kind of going up steadily, so I'm not going too crazy. Just trying to hold where I can. But are you making anything on alt season, or are you kind of out of the market still?
I am still out of the market, sort of. I have bags still that I'm waiting to turn green.
I have bags, he said flatly.
I bought when it was dipping. I use those little quote marks in the air. But it wasn't the dip. It was just sort of like a dip before the dip. So I'm just waiting to get back there.
Depending when you bought, I don't think you're going to be too far away. I think you might be breaking even fairly soon.
I really hope you're right, mate.
Well, there's a very good reason why we're up so early, and that's because we're joined by Daniel McKinney, the founder of Tinaga Resorts, who is heading up a security token offering for the Tinaga Island Resort, which will give ordinary investors a chance to own a slice of a luxury beachfront holiday spot. Daniel, welcome to the FullyCrypto podcast.
Thank you so much for having me.
It's our pleasure. Why don't you start by telling us a bit about yourself, how you got into the crypto and STO world, and a bit about the resort?
Right. Well, my background, I grew up in Hong Kong, and my background is in investment banking, and I've been doing a lot of IPOs and mergers and reverse takeovers in stocks for the last 3 decades. And several of my friends have been very active in the crypto field. One of my best friends was one of the founders of Ethereum, and others have been very serious investors in the crypto world. My partner, in fact, in this Tinaga Resort STO, Dale Rennie, has been involved with Ravencoin pretty much since the inception of that blockchain. And so everything is going blockchain, and it's just a much better system. It's immutable. You can't change it. And I feel like real estate in particular lends itself in an excellent manner for the blockchain. And we're one of the pioneers in that field. I truly believe that in years to come, this STO that we've done with Tinaga will probably be a case study and a signature listing, pioneering in the resort and in the real estate field of STOs, tokens.
Why don't you tell us a bit about the resort itself and what the background is and your involvement with that resort in particular?
Right. Well, I have been an entrepreneur as well as an investment banker for a long time, and I've been a global real estate investor all around Asia, Canada, United States, and I look at opportunities. I also had a construction business based in Bangkok from 1992 until 2000, and I was involved in building lots of resorts around the region. And I was visiting in the Philippines and looking for opportunities here. I'd heard of some fantastic islands, and I'm also a pilot, so we rented a float plane, a Cessna 182 on floats, and we flew around to various places in Philippines. I was coming here about twice a month, sometimes 3 times a month, and I flew to an area about 100 nautical miles to the east of Manila. It was about an hour and a half, 20-minute flight because of the headwinds, and we were at about 6,000 feet approaching this group of islands, and I was absolutely stunned. It was absolutely jaw-dropping. It was an oh my God moment. This was literally one of the most beautiful places I had ever seen, and this was in 2005. So we landed, went walked on the beach, and it was so beautiful. I felt like I was in a surreal world. It's kind of like the movie Avatar. Everything had been photoshopped. The sand was perfect white sand. The water was gin blue color, and it was absolutely stunning. And so I was on the hunt at that point forward to see if there was an opportunity, to buy some property there. And we started immediately the next year, and we started buying lot by lot by lot. And so this has been the 15th year. We own most of the island, the north western part of the island. We own 4 beaches. And so this particular lot 32 that we're offering in this STO is on the main beach. And it was voted several years ago as one of the top beaches in the Philippines. And we have the best lot on that beach. So we're extremely happy. This is a marquee property that we're offering.
And then what pushed you towards the blockchain side of things?
Well, I've been here in the Philippines stuck since January. Normally I'm traveling around, every other week, going to Hong Kong, flying to the United States, going to London, other places, doing my normal investment banking routine. And because of the lockdown, I felt like I better start exploring some avenues of blockchain and crypto space. And one of the public companies I'm involved in, it's a NASDAQ company called GreenPro, the symbol is GRNQ, happened to buy a crypto exchange here in the Philippines called CryptoSX. And so I met the management and over numerous Zoom calls, and actually became a senior advisor to them and helped them restructure a lot of their business modeling. And it became so appealing, I thought, what? It's time for me to put my money where my mouth is on all of this and jump into the space myself. And voila, here we are. We've done the first major real estate STO backed by an island resort property ever. This is the first one.
We were chatting on Telegram, and you mentioned that the public will only be able to buy 43%, was it, of the tokens?
43 million out of the 100 million that we printed.
But what about the pre-sale, which is 10 million? Can anyone buy the pre-sale?
Yes, anyone can buy the pre-sale. You just go onto our website and click through. It's all set up. It's easy for other than U.S. citizens. It's a very easy sign up. It doesn't take very long, and you can acquire, once we've checked and verified your ID and your KYC, then you can use Bitcoin or ETH to acquire minimum of 500 US and up, and until that is sold out at $1 million, people are welcome to buy in this pre-sale.
Okay, cool. So if I had, let's say I had like crazy amounts of money, I'm Satoshi, and I got all that Bitcoin, I could buy all the public and all the pre-sale tokens in theory, which would give me 53%.
Well, I guess in theory you could do it. Absolutely, it's definitely a possibility. Unlikely, but you could do it in theory.
Would that be problematic for you guys if one person came in and bought 53% of all your tokens? What power would that give them?
We would certainly like to have a conversation with them before they did that, obviously, to extra KYC to make sure. Obviously, you like to have the best partners you can in any type of venture, and you look for partners obviously with value added. Do they have any experience in construction or particular areas of finance or hospitality, hoteliers, etc. Yeah.
Okay, so you're looking for more of investors that can add to you and to the project rather than someone that just wants to make money. You want someone who can come in and offer some sort of experience?
Well, obviously, if you have a major investor, it would be great if they had value added, other experiences. For smaller investors, that's fine. We're very happy for them to come in. Even in I would say an investor, 5 or 10%, that's a big investor already. And if that's purely financial, we're very happy for them to come aboard and to partner with us, and we make money together.
Yeah. Okay. So if this is an STO, what advantages would there be of it trading on an exchange? Sort of in the sense, would you want the sort of speculation that is in the crypto markets to sort of creep into your STO? So say, for example, someone bought the public sale at 20 cents. Speculation sort of drives their investment down and therefore the value of the property potentially, if this is what it's linked to.
Well, this is the STOs are very different, Alex, than ICOs. ICO is backed by an algorithm. STO is backed by an actual asset. In this case, it's a very valuable asset. It's one of the top white sand beach properties in the Philippines and or in Asia, and so it's immutable. It's totally tied. The title of that lot is tied to the blockchain and to the STO that we're selling. So I don't think we're going to be seeing the same kinds of gyrations that you would see in an awful lot of other ICOs as well. And so, but these are very, very early days. I was trying to draw an analogy to one of my investment banking associates that I was on a call to New York a few days ago, and he didn't even know what an STO was, or even any of these STO exchanges like CryptoSX or say T0 in the United States. And I said, well, it's kind of like the New York Stock Exchange maybe in 1901. And who did you have listed? Maybe Ford Motor Company and maybe Standard Oil, the Rockefeller. I mean, these are really early days. We're totally trailblazing and pioneering in this area. Fortunately, the regulators are coming around quite fast and are thinking of ways. They're getting their arms around the trading of the STOs, and they're very friendly about it. We are also very strictly going by U.S. SEC guidelines, offering registration D and registration S for overseas investors, and so we're lining up and correlating exactly with SEC requirements for this STO.
How have you found that process of jumping through those hoops, those regulatory hoops? Has it been easier than you thought, much more difficult? How have you found it?
Well, I've been doing it for 35 years already. I've done tons of these, and both on NASDAQ companies and also in smaller startups, OTC market. And so I can remember doing a Reg D 504 in the mid 80s for a technology company and also for like a jewelry company that I did. And so it's quite similar. Of course, some of the rules have changed, and so we have to change, the wording and the templates and so forth. But it's not that dissimilar. Now, what we had to do in this particular SEC template is we obviously had to change all the verbiage, take out anything to do with shares, because this has nothing to do with shares. This is securitized asset, it's tokens. And so, we had to recreate all of that and rewrite all that for the first time. And it's still an evolving process. I talk with, this is going to be the first of 3 STOs that I'm doing in the next 2 quarters. I'm also doing a large STO on the Millennium Sapphire, which is probably the most valuable gemstone in the world. And then after that, I'm doing the first STO for a biotech company for ALI, acute lung injury, which also includes COVID or any type of lung ailment. And these are big STOs. These are big fundraisings, and so I'm developing the product in real time, to fit those specific projects, which also will affect this one as well. We might do some variations of the regulatory filings in the future when SEC comes out and opines or up, does an update.
Mm-hmm.
You just mentioned the Sapphire one there quickly. What would the STO be raising funds for there? Like, what would the tokens give you? Would you own like a portion of the Sapphire?
What we're doing with the Millennium Sapphire is we'll be tokenizing 100% ownership, the title, to the Sapphire. And so this is a really exciting prospect. Nothing like this has been successfully done before. Several ICOs have raised some money, but they haven't been able to acquire any major masterpieces or works of art or a big trophy asset like the Millennium Sapphire. And so we're planning to do that by Q1 next year, and we will list that on several exchanges by probably the middle of next year. And here again, we haven't decided which way we're going to go with it, just Reg D, Reg S, or we might just do a full-on registering with a Regulation A with US SEC. So that would allow anybody to buy it, anyone off the street, not just accredited investors. And we're still discussing. We haven't made a decision yet on which way we're going to go. But to answer your question, absolutely, that will entail fractionalized ownership directly in the Millennium Sapphire.
Okay.
I'm interested in the concept of the security tokens and the assets that sort of they are backing, because in something like the resort, you've got regular income coming in. You've got every day you can look at the balance sheet, you can look at the value of the asset, and you can make a call as to what that asset is worth on a daily basis. With something like the Sapphire, or with fine art, or something that it gets sold at auction, am I right in thinking that you can only really estimate the value of the asset when it gets sold from person to person? So if I bought some tokens for the Sapphire tomorrow, I probably won't realize any profit until it changes hands, because that's the only time you're going to get any change in value. So if the Sapphire isn't sold for 20 years, what's my token worth over those 20 years? Does the value change at all?
The Sapphire has a life of its own. It's the most amazing thing. The Sapphire has been involved in two NASDAQ companies, one initially the closing was in October 2018. The shares of that NASDAQ company at the time were trading about at $1, and the day of the closing, when the press release came out, the shares of that NASDAQ stock went up 18 times, not 18%, 18 times. So the actual value in shares of the Sapphire was about $460 million US, and we had valued it very, very conservatively between 60 to 100 million in the appraisal. And so the second time that we put it into a NASDAQ company, we sold a very small portion of it. We sold 4% for $4 million to GRNQ earlier this year. I believe it closed in May. And here again, the shares of GRNQ just went crazy. So we feel like the same thing is going to happen in this STO. We are going to start, we are in discussions with major museums in the United States to start hosting it and doing exhibitions. We will probably move it to a museum by Q1 or Q2 next year, and we'll start preparing for showings. And we'll also be doing virtual showings as well on our website, and we'll be doing licensing. So we'll be getting income via licensing and also from ticket sales and branding. And so I think I'm expecting some vigorous trading in the STO of the Millennium Sapphire, because it's such a unique asset. Yeah, and it's going to appreciate tremendously.
That brings me back to my question from earlier about the STO of the resort as well. What happens if people decide to try and crash the value of it just to spite you in some way, for example? Do you have any sort of measures against that? Because, I don't know, let's say your Sapphire is valued at 20 million. Say they all decide to pile together and then make your value worth like 2.
Yeah, well, the advantage of the blockchain over, say, NASDAQ stocks or other stocks is you can't naked short it. And naked shorting is selling something that you don't have. It's totally legal and ethical to borrow a share and then sell that into the market. But it's unethical and it's illegal to sell a share that you don't have that you haven't borrowed as well. And unfortunately, this is extremely prevalent, particularly on NASDAQ and NYC and major markets around the world. Unscrupulous hedge funds jump in and they naked short it. Patrick Byrne is the champion of this, with Overstock, and I'm sure you've heard about his exploits and so forth, trying to deal with the naked shorting. This is extremely appealing to me because this is a totally level playing field, and so it's much harder to crash a share, or in this case a token, unless you have control of that token. If you own that token, but you can't naked short it. And so it's a much better playing field. It's much harder to crash something. So in order for, like you say, people to gang up on tokens of the Millennium Sapphire, or say the Tinaga Resorts, they would have to own the token or have to legally borrow it somehow, right, to do so. Also, these are early days, and so we're discussing about market making, bringing in market makers, to trade the tokens and make an even market, so you don't have huge fluctuations in the market. And that's still something that's being developed right now. We're talking with various people about that.
Yeah, because all it takes is for one move in the market in an unfavorable direction, and then suddenly everything that it's tied to becomes worth a lot less. So I guess that is a bit of a fear for you guys.
It is, and it's a concern. But that's that's what I'm involved in every day in my NASDAQ and my other listed stocks. Is we have market makers that are in there, and we have friendly parties that are in there, bidding for our shares. And so presumably, we'll do the same kind of thing in the STO market, trading on the exchanges. We'll have people bidding for the STOs all the time, and people offering it, as well, and have a manageable market. That's the goal.
Okay, cool. So let's say I go out and buy all of your tokens. What will token holders be entitled to?
Well, we've just announced a couple of days ago. Please join our Telegram community and also our Twitter feed. Owners of the tokens have unique privileges, and so those first 5 buyers of minimum 100,000 tokens up to 500,000 tokens. If you buy 100,000 tokens, you will receive every year while you own the tokens 3 nights of room and board at the resort, gratis, for 2 people. If you buy 500,000 tokens, that will be for each year for 10 nights for 4 people, room and board at the resort. So that's a pretty interesting, exciting offer that we're making just for the first 5 who buy up to that quantity.
Yeah, so it's a little like Timeshare for the first 5.
Well, it's not even a timeshare. You actually own it. Timeshare is sort of a lease, and you have it. Say you book 1 week, out of a year, things like this. And so in this case, you're just getting free nights, right? We're just giving you free room and board, and for the first 5. And we're going to be developing other privileges and awards as well for the token holders. We own, like I said, we own the majority of this island, and we own 4 beaches, including a pristine surfing beach. And so we'll be doing follow-on STOs, and only the token owners and holders of Tinaga will receive discounts in the follow-on deals that we're doing. And so we're not going to be offering, half price to the public, to the general public anymore, like we're doing this time at 10 cents, and then it goes to 10 to 20 cents a share. In the future, we'll only be offering those to our vested token owners from this first deal.
And could I just ask, what would happen if your token sale doesn't sell out? Like you don't sell all your STO tokens.
Well, we'll probably place some more institutionally, and we have discussions on that. We could pull the trigger on that, and regardless, we will still list and trade the tokens on CryptoSX next year.
Yeah. Okay, so you would give them maybe like a whole batch to try and sell off for you.
Right, sure. This we're just doing ourselves on our follow-on deals, like with the Millennium Sapphire and with the EV Biologics, the Biotech Deal. We're bringing in, in fact, we've already signed deals with investment banks to do the raise.
Have you chosen not to offer dividends to the token holders, or is that something that the law doesn't allow at the moment?
No, we will definitely be giving dividends both in cash from like the sales of the villas and also in follow-on STOs. We're going to be doing direct dividends to our token holders. So they will be enjoying dividends, regular ones.
Does anything change if you, not that you've got plans to, but if you were to sell the property, does that change anything for the STO holders at all?
At this point, we can't sell it. We would not be able to sell this individual property now that we've committed and we've already started to sell the tokens. And so if we presumably entered into a deal like that, then I guess we would have to vote and get the consent of the majority of the token holders before we did anything.
Okay, that's interesting. So if you were to do it down the line, then it might be a bit of a complicated process further down the line.
Well, I suppose if we had a vote of the token shareholder of the token owners, 51% or more, I guess that would be like a normal corporate sale, right? If you have 51% or more of the majority that would sell, yeah.
That's reassuring though, because that's good for token holders, because I know there are some people that think that because it's a token, not a share, it's not as valuable, it doesn't have as much sway as being a shareholder. So it's actually quite reassuring to know that a token holder has the same power, shall we say, as a regular shareholder.
Actually, a token holder has even more power than a shareholder. And there's a very acute difference between owning a share in a company and a token in a company. If you own a share in the company, your ownership is of the company. It's not of the company's assets. So you don't own directly any of those companies' assets. You own a percentage of the share of the holding company. All right. If you buy ownership in a token, you directly own a portion of fractionalized ownership of that actual asset. Very big difference. Yeah. So I love it. I love that it's never been done before. Hence the blockchain. And I think it's going to change everything. The blockchain, sales in art, and certainly in real estate, it's a multi-trillion-dollar market. And we're also pioneering an effort. We're doing the first STO on a biotech raise as well. And I think it has incredible application. It's much more efficient than doing IPOs.
My last question I've got for you: do you think the infrastructure is there yet for you to kind of achieve what you want to achieve with the STO post-sale, or do you think there still needs to be a lot more built around the STO environment for you to really fulfill your ambitions in this space?
Well, we're pioneering. We're definitely trailblazing in this area. So we're helping build, and I've helped give a lot of advice and help CryptoSX, which is actually based here in the Philippines. It's fully regulated by the government here and the Philippine SEC. And they're also starting to come into compliance with the regulatory bodies, FINRA and SEC in the United States as well. And so, they keep improving their product and their exchange and their offerings, and it's all developing very quickly in real time. And so I'm comfortable even right now with the way things are. But I think, the whole environment will tighten up and get much better over the next 12 to 24 months. So I'm extremely optimistic the way things are going. I think the STO market, and particularly what CryptoSX is doing, is they're building an OTC market for the world for STOs to come and trade here. And I'm sure that there are many other exchanges around the world as well. T0 in the United States has 3 tokens that are trading on their exchange, and they are regulated by the U.S. SEC. And I know there are others in Hong Kong and in Europe as well, but these are very, very early days. So it's very, very exciting to see the development. But to answer your question, yeah, I think the infrastructure is already there to achieve what we want to do.
Great.
So, I know you haven't announced a hotel management group, but do you have any that you'd love to sort of take over? If you could pick one randomly, it's like your dream hotel management group.
Well, I have a lot of contacts and friends. I was involved with a lot of building resorts and hotels. We helped build a Conrad at the All Seasons Place in Bangkok. We were involved. I've got a lot of friends at Hyatt and management in Grand Hyatt. They're based out of Singapore and Hong Kong, and numerous other boutique resort management companies. I'm also a friend with Sonu and his wife Eva, and they founded Six Senses, and I believe Deutsche Bank owns them, but they still own Sonova, which are very high-end, sort of 5-6 star resorts in Maldives and also exclusive venues around Southeast Asia, including Thailand. And so I definitely want to talk with Sonu about the possibility. We actually signed an LOI with this Six Senses company about a decade ago before they got taken over by Deutsche Bank. So we'll find a premier hotel management boutique company that specializes in beach resorts to manage this for us.
So you're looking for something boutique. You don't want some big conglomerate that just does any old hotel. You want something specialized.
Absolutely. Specialized. Absolutely. We want to give a very special, unique experience when you come to this resort.
Yeah. And how about architecture? Is there an architect you'd like to work on your building? Like, do you want something fancy and crazy, or you want something that just looks elegant and is functional?
Well, like I said, I was in the construction business. I've built dozens of resorts and island resorts before. And so being here in the Philippines, we have typhoons. And so we will be building a very robust structure with concrete, foundation and pillars and so forth. And then we're going to be utilizing bamboo around that. So it's going to have a very native look to it. But the basis of it will be concrete in order to withstand the full-on effects of a typhoon.
Yeah, obviously, because you need to make sure that your investment is safe, and everyone's money is safe. Because there's no point in building something out of straw if it's going to blow away, like the Three Little Pigs.
Absolutely. And so, and the other thing, obviously, the safety of our guests, that's paramount. And so obviously these are going to be very robust structures, but we want to have a very native feel to it, utilizing around those structures, utilizing bamboo. You're going to have that native feel about it.
Yeah, so it doesn't look out of place, but sort of just behind the curtain and the decoration is safety that the guests know they can rely on once they're sleeping.
Exactly. Absolutely.
Oh, that's awesome. And when do you hope to break ground?
We'll start to break ground probably in either late 2022 or Q1 2023. And because it's offshore, we'll be renting barges, and we'll be doing a lot of prefab onshore in manufacturing bases there, and then pouring the concrete and so forth on the island. And I've done a lot of prefab construction before, and I like that. The benefits of that, and maintaining the integrity and the quality of building prefab, within a covered factory rather than outside. And so that's probably what we're going to be doing when we build this resort.
Awesome, that's great. And you hope to open by 2024 then?
But by Christmas 2024, that is our goal, our target.
Awesome. That'd be amazing. I bet you can't wait for it to sort of just begin now.
Oh, absolutely. This is a dream. I grew up on a beach in Hong Kong in the 60s. And my dream was to one day actually buy a beach and to do something with it and make a resort. And so this is absolutely the fulfillment of a childhood dream.
That's really nice. It's a special thing to have.
I think we're coming up to time, unfortunately. But Daniel, before we go, can you just run through the essential token sale dates and kind of key information, please?
Sure. Well, we started on the 16th on the pre-sale, and that will continue until $1 million of tokens have sold out, or until the end of February. And then we will start selling at the regular price at 20 cents per token. And thereafter, we'll be listing on Crypto SX. And so, we're very excited about that. We're very excited to be pioneering in this space. I believe this is the largest STO in Asia, and it's probably the biggest real estate STO up to this point, certainly in the resort space. And, we're extremely excited about that, and also partnering with our investors and token holders. Right now, most of our buyers seem to be from Asia. There's a lot from Korea, also from UK, and a smattering of people from like Hong Kong and Singapore, and I guess the balance would be from the United States.
And if you can just remind us then how people can buy the token and where they can find you on social media.
Yeah, they can find us on social media, on Twitter, on Tinaga Resorts, and also on Telegram. The best place to go is to our website, which is TinagaIslandResort.com. And just it's very easy to maneuver through that. You click on buy tokens, and it takes you through checking your ID and KYC, and then you can buy your token. It's a fairly easy process.
Fantastic. Great. Well, Daniel, thank you so much for coming on to the FullyCrypto podcast. It's been a pleasure to talk to you. And we'd love to have you back on in a year or so to see how things are going.
Thank you so much, gentlemen. It was a pleasure.
Thanks.
Great. And best of luck with the STO.
Yeah, best of luck.
Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to the FullyCrypto podcast. Don't forget to like and subscribe on your platform of choice, and you can always hurl abuse at us through our social media channels at FullyCrypto. And of course, for all the latest quality cryptocurrency and blockchain news, reviews, opinion, and more, you can head over to our fantastic website, which is, Alex?
FullyCrypto.com.
FullyCrypto.com. A pleasure as always. Thank you for your company this morning.
Thank you for having me. Have a wonderful day.
Enjoy the rest of your weekend.
Thank you, and you.
Speak to you soon, guys.
Ciao, bye.